Greatly appreciate you all coming together in solidarity and community with us. My name is Opium Sabah. I'm part of the Leonard Peltier official Ad Hoc Committee. I'm also part of Oakland Jericho. I'm a political hip hop artist and activist from the San Francisco Bay Area. We'll give a few minutes for other people to come in here and for Mr. Lenny Foster
broken down. You have something
to join us.
Yeah.
And we're definitely looking forward to hearing from our special guests and giving all of you an opportunity to, send some good energy and good vibrations to Mr. Leonard Peltier on this very crucial and important day for him, and just to kind of be able to vocalize, your what Leonard's fight and struggle and what his freedom means to you all as well.
Thank you, Opium.
Of course.
Leonard's walking into that courtroom, and the families of the agents are going to be there, and the FBI has been indoctrinated to look at him as a cold-blooded killer. There is nothing cold-blooded about that man. I told him, when you get those cold-blooded killer looks, listen for the drums. There are ceremonies going on from Oglala to Ireland, and we are in ceremony right now, whatever that looks like for anyone, whether you're a Christian, an atheist, native, Muslim.
And we have elders with us, wonderful, wonderful elders who have been part of this movement for so long. It's so nice to see you, Julia. How are you doing? I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you, Paulette. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words, Julia?
Whatever happens today. Oh, am I muted? No, whatever.
No, hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear you fine, Julia.
I'm all right.
Okay.
Just
I did.
one word. Oh, yeah. Whatever happens today is history for us, for our children, for our ancestors, and for those who are not yet born.
So true, so true. And Carol, his auntie, is with us as well, Rabadoo. So we have family, we have friends, supporters, loved ones with us. And we have our four-legged friends with us who are visiting with Dawn.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. Four-legged, Leonard would love to have a dog. So
he wants me to bring him 2 rescue shepherds when he gets out. I will pack up all 6 dogs in an RV and drive down there.
So what did you hear from Lenny?
He is in the house, and he asked me to send him the link that I sent him a few minutes ago. So I sent it to him again. So he's coming on. He's coming on. Susan McLean is here, my editor. She is an incredible editor. She will take Sharpies into the supermarket and edit their signs.
And we have Pam Africa in the house as well.
Oh,
on the move, Pam, on the move. Lenny's here.
Lenny's here. I did not see him.
He's on the 3rd page.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here, Mr. Lenny Foster. Hello. Okay, Lenny, would you like to lead us in a prayer?
Yeah.
It's 11. So Leonard is just starting his hearing, Lenny. So we need to push this out for him right now.
Okay. Kudobe Jondo, Lachon, Shata, the in long, the in youth aid, the in Joe Pai, the in her zone, Shada now cons. Just not Jenny so Chito costly, the Bensa, Jetty in on a clean, the Cato taught us launch all, no, they be any date of being hit seal of being hit scatter. Ben John Sea case, don't be any date all this, I decon. Near when Lonnie Yezin, Lon Leonard Peltier, they come butt settings and butt setters, and they set us in Yata behind loud. They lost Leon Bindi, yeah, they go on up. Turtle Pan Mountain, Chippewa, hey, go. Bindi Hawana, Astole, he could ask the butt settings and shit. No, you take in Joe by the in his own. I said, now, was it called Leonard Peltier? United States Parole Commission, but after they could have last late or late, they can say at about seat or less what that I don't think that many you could have yet you could have yet studied yeah been parole commission the east side maybe yet be oh don't need of India one not doctor. The game no ya ando tafa shmore shitqat yen long yen yot yen like yen hazone kha shada ana 80 kon ya spell but that is sense ye ba in love they loves late or le they balash they kon kedo in kate and long Eddie Commodore said it's an idiot. Leonard Peltier, why they by Lance Leo. Oh, don't need a bindi who not doctor. It's shown part in long. It could there is on there has on shut Anna Hope. They could no, it no, Venet, it won't create and also. Yeah, tell the his on the heads on the screen, the heads on the screen, the heads on the screen. Oh, my talk to the Loma relations. Okay, what's that? Make
What
which?
beauty. Thank you, Mr. Lenny Foster.
Oh,
Dawn,
Thank
would
you.
you,
Thank you.
anybody, will you need to be muted, please, when people are speaking? Whoever
Yes.
was talking
Could
during
you all
Lenny's
please mute
prayer,
yourself?
please mute yourself.
Thank you.
Lenny, would you like to share a few words about you and Leonard? I know you
Yes,
have to
yes.
go.
I met Leonard Peltier on the streets of Denver, Colorado in 1970 in the fall. At the time, he was a young man. I was a young man. We were both idealistic. We were both had joined the American Indian movement, and young people wanting to express their spirituality, their culture, tradition, language. And Leonard Peltier was no different. He was a very in, insightful individual. And I know him that way. He has a lot of humor. He's very talented. He's a very talented artist. Many paintings that he has made are in the hands of notable art dealers, art collectors. So Leonard Peltier is a very unique individual. He stands for his people. He stands for treaty rights. We express our love and solidarity in prayer. And he's a grandfather, a great grandfather from Turtle Chippewa, North Dakota. And he's been incarcerated close to 50 years. He's experienced many hardships. He's been incarcerated. And I visited him, started visiting him in United States Penitentiary, Leavenworth, Kansas, where I conducted spiritual counseling, sweat lodge ceremonies, the ancient cleansing and purification ceremonies of our peoples. And he is a fun dancer like myself. We sun dance at Crow Dog's Paradise in 1975. And he's a visionary. He's a visionary, and he's a very talented individual. He's loved by all. He's an icon. He's a revered elder among the Indian community, and release of him from the United States prison system will set the stage for path to reconciliation between the United States government and the Indian nations. There's many Indian nations, Oglala Sioux Tribe, Rosebud, Navajo Nation, other National Congress of American Indians have expressed their support, and they would like to see him released. And people all over the world who love their people, who love their freedom, have all expressed that Leonard Peltier be released on parole this day. This day is a historic day in many ways, and we continue to hope and pray in your support, your positive energy from wherever you're at to this parole hearing in Coleman, Florida, will be greatly appreciated. I know he will appreciate it, and he loves his people. He loves Mother Earth, and he loves the forces of nature. He's a pipe carrier, a sun dancer, and I know him that way. I've known him for over 40 years. He has a real sense of humor, Indian humor, and like I said, he's a very talented, gifted artist individual. So this is the reason why we support his efforts for release on parole. I know the attorneys, Jennifer Jones and others, the Ad Hoc Committee have expressed their love, support, solidarity for his release. And so I express that myself at this time. And the words that we make, the prayer that I made is an ancient blessing prayer of the Dene Nation, Navajo Nation. So we continue to hope and pray for his freedom. And that's what I'd like to say. The words that we have expressed will be made into a prayer. It says, and that's clean only. It says, and by it sad, ya te good Chitrat the Indian, you take in Joe by the Inzoni. It loves Leon Bindi. I don't need to who are not dostally. Ho, Matakiasi.
Miigwech, my friend.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Lenny Foster.
oh,
Yes, thank you, Lenny.
yes.
Okay, I have got a recording of Leonard's granddaughter. If would we want to play that now?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I'm a 10-year-old granddaughter of Leonard Peltier. My name is Nalani. I'm asking you to release my grandpa, not because of compassion or any other reason, except he's never been guilty of committing a crime, and the court see it along with the whole world. He should never have been incarcerated for a single day. I need and want my grandpa Leonard to be home now. You have had him for 50 years too long. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Nalani couldn't be here. She had some training exercises. She's a very talented young lady, and Leonard is extremely proud of her. I see Penny Hess and Jesse Neville from Hands Off Uhuru. Welcome.
I think I should, people that are traveling and that have to go to work, Donna, if you are still on, would you like to take a couple of minutes? And people that are driving so that people stay safe. Morning, Penny. Donna, are you still on?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right, do you have a couple of minutes to share?
Yeah, it won't be a couple of minutes. I don't have that much to say. So I've been active with the Leonard Peltier support group in Silicon Valley since 1999. I'm just I don't know how to hold today. I'm just trying to have positive thoughts that by some miracle the parole board grants Leonard parole, and even by a more miracle that he actually would get released today and not have months to take. Everybody knows that Leonard is an innocent man, and that he's been wrongfully incarcerated for over 48 years, that he has stayed so strong and so positive over all this time. It's quite incredible. So it's really time for him to go home. I've never met Leonard in person. I've gotten, I think, 2 letters from him. He's just a very special person. We here in Santa Clara County, we had a very special event for him on Friday, the 7th of June. I'm trying to remember how the tree was acquired, but a tree was acquired for Leonard by a man named Scribe, and a woman named Beth helped to find the place at the holistic nature space in the city of Santa Clara. And so there was, I think, about, I don't know, 10 of us who gathered and dug a hole in the ground and planted the tree. And there was a very special ceremony in planting the tree for Leonard Peltier. So there is a tree in Ulistock in the city of Santa Clara for Leonard Peltier, and it was planted on purpose and very special sacred ceremony for his freedom. So I did send off a few photos of it to some of the people in the Ad Hoc Committee, and I'll send a few more. I stopped sending because my Google account told me that it couldn't send the photos. But then I got email replies that they received them, so I'll send more. But thank you so much. My heart goes out to Leonard, and I'm just seeing him. I keep on picturing him outside under the sun, looking up to the sky, hearing yesterday at the 7th on Friday, it's a special nature reserve. So I could hear so many birds singing, and I was just sending the singing of the birds to Leonard so that he could hear them too. So that I keep on picturing Leonard outside under the sun, looking up to the sky and feeling all the nature surrounding him. So that's what's going to happen today.
Thank you for having the tree planted for him. That's very special. He'll be very happy to hear that.
Is there anyone else in a time crunch that needs to get to work or anything?
I see Jihad Abdul Mumit, who is driving. I think people in cars, we should let them speak so that we don't have to worry about them having an accident.
Jihad, would you like to say a few words? We don't want you to crash into anyone.
I think he might have got bumped off because I see it said that his iPhone left a few minutes back in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Is there anybody else on the road? Because otherwise than that, we want to make sure you're safe, and we appreciate you being willing to spend your time as you're driving with us. All right, well then we have a special guest, Michael Ashanti Alston, who is my comrade for many, many years. And he was part of a collective of people in Lompoc, USP Lompoc, when Leonard was there as part of this group of people who were visionaries and looked to the future and were there because of their politics. And so we asked Ashanti to come on this morning to say a few words about his time spent with Leonard. That's where I met Ashanti and Hanif Shabaza Bey, who were both in Lompoc at that time. So Ashanti Alston, please, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Power to the people. I try to be brief because maybe in the 1 or 2 minutes I take, Jihad might get on back in here. We were both at yesterday at our comrade Sekou Odinga's memorial in Harlem, and which was very, very well done, and many comrades were there, so it also was a reunion in many ways. And comrades there who also remember Leonard, because some of them, 1 or 2 of them had actually did time with Leonard also. But I'll be brief. The Lompoc experience, before the Lompoc, we were in Marion, Illinois federal prison, which at the time took the place of Alcatraz, you know, which was supposed to be the most secure prison in the country. That definitely they wanted to put the political prisoners in, and not just, but all under the banner. You couldn't manage them anywhere else, put them here. But we knew we were political prisoners, and that's how they treated us, even if they didn't recognize us. Interesting about Marion, before getting sent, Leonard was there. Rafael Miranda of the Puerto Rican Independentistas, political prisoners, was there. Herman Bell was there, and a few other political prisoners. We were all there at the same time. It was, and it was really a great experience, if I can say that. You know, prisoner, you know, you make the best of it. You're there. But at a certain point, they started shipping us out, and several of us got shipped out to Lompoc, California, and so now we're in general population. And like Lenny said, you know, we were all young men. We didn't have all this stuff going on. We young men that's still in resistance, you know, it's still war. But we got to know each other, and very personally, you know, because we see each other. We on the well, that might be part of my little funny story. Many of us was on the track running. We would be training. But Leonard wasn't one of them, right? And we would make fun of him about not being on the track with us, not working out and stuff like that. But Leonard was Leonard, you know? And I think the most important thing is we was just regular people with each other. And I think part of what made us so dangerous, regular people relate to regular folks. We don't come across as, you know, we're these, you know, these leaders you got to look up to and like treat in a certain way. We were really people with each other, and that's why our relationship went beyond just we in the prison and we're comrades. We actually were friends, you know, so it made it even deeper. But during the time I was there in Lompoc too, was Leonard and them was fighting for the Sweat Lodge. And at a certain point, because of their efforts, they forced the, you know, the prison system to allow them to set up the Sweat Lodge. So that also was helping me as this, you know, revolutionary of African descent.
Oh, no.
You're muted, Ashanti.
I didn't mute. Did I mute from the beginning?
The government did. No, just about the Sweat
The
Lodge.
government.
It was just a few seconds.
Okay, so the Sweat Lodge, oh my God, I've been working that hard. Anyhow, the Sweat Lodge became very important for me because when comrades come from different experiences in this prison situation, we get to learn about our aspects of our struggles in deeper ways. That is it's really important to understand this Turtle Island thing and how this empire built this thing on the back of the turtle, and that we just wanted off. we want to live, we want to breathe, you know, and being with Leonard and the other indigenous comrades, they allowed us to really learn a lot. Eventually I got parole from Lompoc back to the state of Connecticut to do state time, but you know, came out like Safia, who was my wife at the time. You know, you hit the road running, working for the political prisoners. So I just want to say, like, from the Jericho movement, which I am still a part of, we still do this work. But we did learn something in prison about, you know, you got to prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And the preparing for the worst is just to kind of gird yourself so that even if it doesn't happen the way we want, we know we got to keep on going. We got to keep on doing this because we still want to make sure that we can free our political prisoners. Because like Ho Chi Minh said, our political prisoners are going to come out and show us so much about how to free this world. You know, so I'm glad to be on this. I'm honored to be on this. I encourage everybody to, like, if we can do more, let's do more. And I say that especially to anyone, the young folks out there who are anarchists, anti-authoritarian, that's me, as they know, you know, let's help create this movement with more power, more force to free our folks who tried to free us so that we would not even have to be going through all of this. We can still make this happen. And I'm gonna leave it there, and hopefully this is going to be a good day for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashanti.
Yes, thank you, Ashanti. Really quickly, I did notice in the chat that Anne mentioned that Eddie Africa is on the line with Pam Africa, and I believe he did time with Leonard as well. So I wanted to give him an opportunity, if he would like to talk about his time and his relationship with Leonard as well.
He's with Janet Africa.
Oh, Janet, my apologies.
Go ahead, Eddie, unmute. Janet, you need to unmute your phone.
What's the screen name? I could ask her to unmute.
It's Janet Africa. See if you can unmute it. She's on the phone, I think, rather than a computer.
Okay. I have a, no, Janet Africa. Oh, here we go.
Celui-là, par exemple. Donc, les jours passés, sur la deuxième file, on va sur ce côté.
Ask John to unmute, and if everyone else mutes themselves, I'd appreciate it.
That's our friend from France. Bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour, Edith. Can you mute until the speakers finish, please? Isn't that great? We have our comrades from France calling in.
Yes, it is.
And Julia, are you in France too right now?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. No, I'm not. No.
All right. Well, we have Edith calling in from outside of Paris. I guess Janet and them, we should take someone and let them try and figure it out, and as soon as they can.
Yeah.
Opium, would you like to introduce one of our comrades from Hands Off Uhuru?
Sure. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. Our group here is definitely growing. We have about 94 people in here. So thank you everyone for joining us on this very important and crucial day for Mr. Leonard Peltier. And I know we have a few of our comrades from the Uhuru movement in here. Maybe I see Penny is in here. Would you like to say a few words about Uhuru and about Leonard Peltier, Penny?
Uhuru, thank you so much for having me on. I want to salute Mr. Lenny Foster and everybody who's on here, and to say that the Uhuru movement is committed to Leonard Peltier must be free now. We have the honor of having Chairman Omali Yeshitela on this call, and I would really like to, if I could, turn my time.
No, this keeps coming up.
Hello, hey, Ann.
This keeps coming up.
Janet, can you hear us?
Yes, on the move.
We can hear you.
Can Eddie Africa talk for a few minutes about his time with Leonard?
Okay, you can hear us?
We can hear you.
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
Everybody.
On the
On
move.
move.
This is Eddie Africa, Minister of Defense for the MOVE organization. I was at Leavenworth, Kansas with Leonard Peltier. When I got there, and this is when Leavenworth was a level 5.5 to a 6. When I got there, we were in the yard, and he approached me, and we got to talking. And he was showing me around the jail, and he took me to his block where he was making, he was creating a, I don't want to say Indian, but a miniature village of his people. And the work was so good. Each figure had a different face. It's like each one had a different personality. But anyway, we began to walk together in the yard. That sweat lodge, they had it there. And so we wound up trying to teach each other and greeting the other brothers in the jail in order to create a situation where everybody in the jail would learn from each other rather than having conflict. And that was one of the better experiences I had going through these jails for the last 41 years. But anyway, I wanted to read something that we wrote for him. John Africa teaches us that you are not immune from the injustice of this system. So when MOVE fight injustice, we ain't just fighting for MOVE. We fighting for you and your family too. This is why people should be outraged about such injustice as the plight of Leonard Peltier. You see, the issue ain't Peltier. The issue is injustice of innocent people being in prison 10, 20, 30, 40 years for fighting this corrupt system and refusing to stop, like Leonard Peltier. This ain't just something MOVE is saying. The parole board is saying it by repeatedly refusing to parole Leonard, crystallizing its part in the official conspiracy against him. This system won't parole Leonard until he agrees to stop fighting for his people, turn traitor to his beliefs. They want him to stop being a symbol of hope to his people or serve his maximum sentence, which is death by incarceration and medical neglect. This is the kind of injustice that's threatening everybody. It's the injustice John Africa's MOVE organization have been fighting for the past 50 years and will always fight. Leonard Peltier applied for compassionate release based on serious health issues, advanced diabetes, kidney problems, high blood pressure, blindness in one eye, and other medical issues. While waiting on a decision for compassionate release, he spoke up.
Saying that Americans are actually struggling at a far greater.
What? He spoke up for one of his people standing there who was being medically neglected. Leonard was denied being released for speaking out for Standing Bear. Leonard is seeing the parole board again today, June 10th. People must unite to ensure that the parole board does right by Leonard Peltier. To quote John Africa, quote, when an evil person attempts to interpret a righteous person, the interpretation will be as evil as the person that is giving it. For when a wicked person judges a godly person, the judgment will be wicked, but it won't tell you a thing about the person that's being judged, end quote. Long live John Africa forever. Long live Leonard Peltier. This is what is needed by everybody. The government has to be shown that they can't just keep doing this to us. And people have to understand that everybody can be a victim of this. Anybody that doesn't agree with the government, this is what they will do to you. I mean, we've seen it over and over. So people have to remember that. And when it's being done to your brother, fight to help him because it might come your way. On the move.
On the move.
On the move.
On
On the move.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Eddie. So, Chairman, we see you
Please-
there. We
please
acknowledge
speak of-
Uhuru. Would you like to take a few minutes to join us with some words of wisdom?
Please.
Uhuru, thank you so much. I'm not quite Uhuru. I'm not quite sure about the wisdom part, but I really appreciate being here with everybody. I did not know Comrade Leonard, my relative, personally, as some of you have had an opportunity to experience. But I do know that we have all been connected, Leonard, me, and so many of you who are on this call now, people who have been political prisoners in this country. And I think that this is a really important kind of meeting that Leonard has brought us together for this discussion. I mean, I know that there's a parole hearing, but the reason we are here is Leonard. Leonard has brought us together, and I think that's really something important to recognize and to look at just the diversity of forces who are on here. In many ways diverse, but primarily the fact is that we are engaged in the same struggle. And I appreciate everybody hearing how folk talk about how Leonard helped to make that clear in their connection with him. And I appreciate hearing how those of us who have been in these hellholes, these concentration camps, these dungeons that they have created for those of us who are colonized here and around the world. I appreciate, your contribution to this recognition. I just wanted to say that I think it's really important, this meeting and what we've come to understand. And some of you I know, some I have not met personally. But the thing that connects us all, everybody in this, is the fact that we live within what is characterized as I characterize as a colonial mode of production. It is colonialism that connects us all together. When you look at what's happening to Leonard, you're talking about colonialism. When you look at what's happening to African people, you're talking about colonialism. And the courts and the systems that afflict us are colonial courts and systems, and that's why they treat us the way they do. Because the truth of the matter is that freedom is illegal for the colonized. There is no way in hell that freedom can be legal in a system of slavery. It's impossible for that to occur. And when the slave master or the colonizer has control of the system, they make laws and institutions and things like that validate and reinforce this relationship they have with us, those of us who suffer and see our children and our neighbors and our friends suffer. And I really hate being in a situation where we have to be, even asking them to free our relative, Leonard Peltier. Here we are on indigenous land where people have been here many centuries before the existence of this entity that we call America. I'm glad that somebody pointed out Turtle Island. And here, somebody whose crime, if you will, is a crime against colonialism, a crime just to liberate the people, just to protect the resources of the people, the traditional custodians of this land. So I just wanted to recognize the unity that's here, the basis for our being here, notwithstanding whether we knew or didn't know Leonard Peltier, notwithstanding the question that some of us are Africans and indigenous and North Americans and other folk like that, that we are linked together by a brutal kind of social system that came into existence through slavery and colonialism. And that in the United States in particular, we're talking about a system that rests upon the twin pillars of slavery and colonialism: stolen labor, stolen land. And so free Leonard Peltier, free people now being sentenced and tried for saying things like from the river to the sea, Palestine must be free. Well, it's legal in this country to sing songs about sea to shining sea. But what we say is from sea to sea, the indigenous people must be free. Colonialism has to be destroyed. And in the process of destroying colonialism, we're demanding the freedom of our relative, comrade brother Leonard Peltier. And, we hope in a situation now, just due to the relative weakness of our movement, we have to hope that in this instance, enough attention has been brought to this case, enough contradictions exist for our oppressors that they will allow our brother, our relative, to come home. So I just wanted to thank everybody for being here and for giving me this opportunity to say these few words. Thank you so much. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to let you know, if you have anything you want to say to Leonard, put it in the chat. I will print it out and send it to him. I would love to hear, speaking of the colonial question, Paul and Virginia Berg have been addressing this for 50 years. They have known Leonard for 50 years. I would love to hear a few words from them. If you two want to unmute.
Oh, well, thank you. We are delighted to be here with you during this time. I think back to the year 2000 and his parole hearing. I testified along with his daughter. The parole board listened to us. They found in his favor. Within days, the chief officer of the parole board was demoted back to being a guard. The board was reformed and the finding was reversed. I have no illusions about how evil the FBI is, having served with them in the past and seen the internal operations. They wanted to limit the number of his what's the word? Witnesses. And I believe it's limited to one during this hearing today. Two? Good. That's good, because they were trying to limit it to one. I do know that when I have time to spend with somebody, talk to them, explain the situation, their mind changes about Leonard. We know he's sustained, an amazing person. He's sustained by his own innocence. And this whole process has sustained him for years. Another thing I think about is Sandra Wounded Foot, who during that time was murdered by a federal agent. He was a brutal murder. And she was 15 years old. She was my student. He received a 10-year sentence for manslaughter, served only 7. It certainly helped his case to have a federal badge when he performed whatever he did. I know for all of us, we are bleeding on this day. Leonard's continued incarceration is an open wound for all of us. Hopefully there is a miracle. Hopefully there are people on that board whose souls, whose very inner being be touched by the truth, and we'll let him go. We'll let him have some time of freedom. And this is what we hope for today. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to say something on Leonard's behalf and share our feelings with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much,
Paul.
Paul. And whatever the decision is, Jennifer and Mo will not stop until they get him out. I put
Good.
the donate link in the chat. This is not a money grab, this is ceremony, but if you do have a few extra dollars, this battle will keep going no matter what. He will be out. Thank you so much.
Okay, Edith, do you want to say a few words from Paris? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour. Well, you know, Sylvain is on the online. He would have a lot more to say than myself, but what I want to say very quickly is that there's a lot of support from colonial Europe, you know, because there are a lot of people who are into decolonizing our minds and our territories. And we've been supporting Leonard ever since, you know, like it's like for decades, for 50 years. And myself, when I was in the longest walk, we stopped by at Marion with AIM and with, you know, in prayers and so that Leonard will finally be free. That's all, you know. Get Sylvain to say a few things because he organized a lot from France, if you can, if he's still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Edith.
Okay. We love Leonard and we cherish him and we will have him freed no matter what. And thank you all because, you know, to have us all together, you know, is very important for our children and our grandchildren and for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia Wright, would you like to say a few words? We are very thankful for the beautiful poem you wrote for Leonard.
Thank you. I was living in Africa in the 60s at the height of the Pan-Africanist movement when Nkrumah and the freedom fighters told us that the independence of one country was meaningless unless it was connected to the independence of all African countries. And today, this is what I feel is happening. Why are we all together? We represent different African-American political prisoners. They are like our countries. They are like the independence of our countries. And can you hear me? And we would like to say that Leonard Peltier's freedom would be the astounding, ripping
Commercials.
Hello?
Yes, please put your, please
mute.
Go ahead,
Hello? Would be the ripping of the yarn and the dominoes would fall and it would be connected to the freedom of them all. And so we would be practicing pan-abolitionism.
Thank you. Thank you. Opium.
Thank you, Julia. Welcome, everyone. We have 100 people in here now, so it's great to see these numbers keep rising and have these good vibrations and energy rising for our dear elder, Leonard Peltier. I did notice in the chat, a few people mentioned that Bro Tariq is in here, who I believe also did time with Leonard. So if you're willing and able and would like to say a few words about your relationship with Leonard, we would love to hear from you. maybe we'll give him a few minutes to unmute or to join us. If there's anyone else that has work or pressing issues, please raise your hand virtually.
Tyreek is here. Hello.
Greetings.
Greetings. This is Tyreek.
Oh, welcome, brother. We would love to hear from you about your relationship and your time with Leonard.
Yes, I was with Leonard at two places. I was with Leonard at Terry Hut, and I was with Leonard at Marion, Illinois. When I was with Leonard at Terry Hut, they had all the indigenous brothers in my unit, about 10 of them. They had Leonard.
Go ahead, Tyreek.
You're muted, Tariq.
I'm speaking now.
Okay.
Yes. Like I said, I was with Leonard at two places.
Turn off flash.
One was in Marion, Illinois. One was in Marion, Illinois, and one was in Terry Hut, Indiana. When we was at Terry Hut, Indiana, all the indigenous people were in my unit. They had Leonard across the hall. Leonard represent taking his people. Leonard and the AIM movement represent. Leonard and the AIM movement represent taking the indigenous people back to their original self. And that's why they are really down on Leonard represents taking the indigenous people back to their original self. And should they go back to their original self, but if they continue to follow the new customs that they have, adopted, then they will die. And Leonard represents life. That is why the authorities have Leonard there to associate Leonard with torture, so that people would think that what Leonard represents is pain and suffering, but Leonard represents freedom. He represents the way forward is to go back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Tyreek.
Hear you?
Yes. So Leonard represents going forward with life concepts, and that is why the authorities are really on him. The authorities are really against Leonard because they want to say that Leonard represents pain and death. Leonard represents life and living, and Leonard represents embrace.
Tyreek, are you moving around?
No, my thing keep going to done. So tap to speak, and then it's done speaking. So that's what's happening here. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
You're muted again.
Yeah, he represents the concept that will live. He represents the concept against them, you know. I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with my phone thing. And keep
That's all
going.
right. We heard you, Tyreek.
All right, very good then.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
And I see Union Del Barrio National has their hand up if you'd like to unmute. And just a quick reminder for anyone that's not being called on and speaking, if you could please mute so that we can hear the speakers clearly. Much appreciated.
And if you want to have something to say, please raise your hand. There's 4 screens, so we're going back and forth. We don't want to leave anyone out. So please raise your hand and one of us will be able to call on you. Where did the comrade go?
Not sure.
Hi, everyone. This is Benjamin Prado on behalf of Unión del Barrio Mexican Liberation Organization and what we consider the occupied territories of Mexico, Aztlán, and Anahuac, and definitely recognizing the indigenous struggle for land. And that's why we unite with the struggles, the anti-colonial struggles that Leonard waged as well as a righteous defender for land and his people. And we know that Leonard's detention for this long has been a way of the colonial system to set an example of what happens when you struggle for your freedom. And he represents and is a representative of that indigenous struggles of our peoples to be free from settler colonialism. And we unite with all the efforts to get him out and demand that he be released immediately. And we hope, right, we are in anticipation of whatever decision comes out today, that Leonard will be free, that he will be back with his peoples and out of captivity. We unite with this struggle, and we appreciate all of you who have come on today to express that solidarity, and thank you for organizing this very important message of solidarity and support for Leonard Peltier. Free Leonard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Brother
I also see Bro Shep has his hand up if you want to unmute.
All power to the people. Free Leonard, free them all. I want to thank everyone for being here today to send this positive energy out so our elder comrade can come home. And I am a veteran of the original Black Panther Party and representing another one of our captured comrades, Kamal Siddiqui, and also Prison Lives Matter. I just want to say that I have in the chat, just sent it out, a link for those of you, including Opium and Lenny and Julia and a lot of other folks who came in last night for our prayer circle for Leonard. And I have the link there. If anyone missed last night, there's the link, and you'll be treated to an powerful program that we had last night. So again, free Leonard, free them all, and peace to you all.
Thank you, Brother Shep. I see Nathan Phillips is there. Nathan, would you like to say a few words and give us your blessing, please? Please unmute yourself.
Hello there.
Hello, Nathan, please.
Appreciate this time to say something. I just kind of wanted to listen and hear what people had to say and add it to my prayers. I was had a pipe ceremony earlier over here at the home place in Michigan, and it's where I'm at right now. I'm getting ready to go to DC, and we should be there by this evening time. And we'll have a cedar ceremony over there this evening, wherever we're at when this evening when we get back to DC. Burn some cedar for Leonard and, all the people supporting him like that. I'm real humbled to be asked to say anything. Let's see. My first encounter with Leonard Peltier was something that happened to me. I didn't know they were looking for him when back in '75, when the FBI were looking for him. They searched me up and put a gun to my head and that was my first time knowing anything about Leonard, and I didn't know who they were looking for then. It took about 10 years later, in '85, I was part of a delegation that brought Leonard Peltier's pipe to his daughter to dance at the Big Mountain Sundance. Leonard Crow Dog was out there. He was the Sundance chief there, and it was the Big Mountain Resistance out there, and they were supporting Leonard, and his daughter was out there dancing. We brought his pipe to her, and ever since then I've been keeping a prayer for Leonard and his family like that. You know, done a couple of things. Leonard called me up one time a while back, and when he had my phone number, and asked me to start up or be a part of a Leonard Peltier Freedom Campaign. We brought about 2 million signatures for, you know, parole, clemency for Leonard Peltier. We showed the movie Incident at Oglala over there in Washington, D.C. We had some Congress people come in there and see it, you know. How I got started is that I would go into the prison there at Leavenworth, part of the I'm trying to remember the name, the Warrior Society that they had inside, and we would go in there and help out with the sweats, and different groups would bring different relatives. Leonard Crow Dog would come there, and Archie Fool's Crow or Archie Lame Deer would come in, and a few others would come there and visit with Leonard, and we would host them there at our house there in Kansas, and have sweat in the backyard, pray around for Leonard then. So as I've been around for a little bit, you know, I really appreciate that Leonard was there, said good words for me when during that incident in DC with those kids that one time, and then more recently when I was when we had our prayer vigil over there in DC, and we got assaulted and got attacked, and Leonard stood up for us then, and you know, I didn't even know he was aware of those things, you know. I mean, the DC one there, I guess that was pretty much in the news. And I don't really have a whole lot more to say other than we're having a sweat here. When we get back here next week, we're going to have a sweat for Leonard, and this evening we're going to have a cedar ceremony, and we're going to pray for everybody and send that cedar out to everybody. A long day it's going to be, and parole board, you know, for a good heart and good mind for them, you know, compassion in their heart, you know. It's been a long time. Brother Leonard's been in the prisons there around the country, has family, got the daughter, got great grandson. I got to meet his great grandson, you know, a while back, and his grandson would come over to our house in DC when things would happen there, and we taught him the Peltier song, and we taught him the AIM song there. And my wife at the time, you know, Shoshana, you know, she would make fry bread for everybody, and soup, and you know, all the folks that would come in. Oh, Tom Porbear and Dave Chief, all of them guys would come over to the house, you know, when they come to DC, you know, have soup and fry bread with us, you know.
I wish we had some now.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. So yeah, those are the things that I was been involved in with Leonard, and always a prayer, you know. It's always just been a prayer, you know. My involvement is never tried to raise no dollars on him or, try to be anybody. And just when I would talk to him on the phones different times, he always make me laugh and make me feel good and encourage me to continue and do good things, he would say. So we're gonna plant some trees and some fruit trees here at my homestead. We got a place here in Michigan, and when Leonard gets out there, if he has the opportunity to come by the house, we got a place for him to crash if he wants. Come sweat with us over here again. It'd be good to sweat with him again, pray with him again, this side of the walls. So yeah, it's been a long, tough journey for him. It's like a good time for him to come home now and be back with family and share what he has, what time he has left with his family like that.
Great.
And
Thank you, Nathan.
yep, I got about
Thank you,
that much
Mr.
to
Nathan
say.
Phillips.
Thank you.
Carolyn Matthews has her hand up.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yes, thank you, Nathan. And I'm a little bit hoarse because I'm recovering from COVID, but I have memories, Nathan, shared with you and value very much your work over the years, as well as so many people who are here and those who are not here. I too was at the Big Mountain Sundance with Crow Dog that year in Arizona with the alliance between the Navajo, that is really the Dene, and the Lakota people and supporters of Peltier were united in that effort. And I was also remembering Nathan from coming to Missouri. I'm from Missouri and co-founded with a couple of others a Native American support group back in 1981. And I wasn't at the original trial, but we went up to the evidentiary hearing in Bismarck, North Dakota, which was so momentous because it was so obvious how unjust what was happening there with the same judge who had presided over the original trial, limiting what could be said on the side of the defense, and then bringing up the FBI agent who was supposedly a ballistics expert who lied on the stand and later on the same day had to go back and retract his words or he would have been cited for perjury. So the corruption was so obvious there, and the attorneys were struggling valiantly to break through it, did in little ways, but not enough to turn it around. But it was a momentous day, and there was a rally that day also, and I was able to meet people who have stood up for Peltier for so many years, ranging from William Kunstler and Russell Means, Danny Blackgoat, and of the Danette people, and so many others, including Margaret Gold, who was an attorney who volunteered to help with Leonard's case. And I volunteered to assist her in Springfield, Missouri, because Missouri became one of those, for a while, one of those pivotal places. And thank you for those who knew him in Marion and those who knew him in Leavenworth. He came from Marion to Missouri because he was on a religious fast. He was fasting to get his religious rights in prison. And, it's all, I later became an attorney because I was trying to figure out ways to help justice. It was one of those strange legal boundaries. So if you're doing a political statement, they call it a hunger strike, and they can force feed you, which can be very dangerous or even cost your life if it drowns your lungs. But if you're doing it for religious purposes, it's a religious fast and is supposed to be allowed under your religious freedom. So here he was being transported from Marion to Missouri because they were interpreting it as a hunger strike. So this is, again, the duplicity of the whole justice system. Just a slight difference in interpretation makes it bigoted against Native peoples and the way of religion that has been traditional for so long. So Margaret Gold went to work and I was helping her. We created an office in Springfield, Missouri. And there, yes, wonderful people came to see Leonard in prison, from Louis Two Ravens Irwin and Archie Fire Lame Deer and many others. And we had a sweat lodge in the backyard, and I got to go visit him in prison a few times to take him papers to sign or discuss things that while Margaret was busy going to court or doing other stuff. And it was such a privilege. And I echo what others have said. He was such a compassionate person. He is such a compassionate person. His big heart speaks volumes, and all those who've touched his life and been touched by him know that. I also hear a lot about his sense of humor, and I saw some of that too. But I always believed 100% that he was telling the truth, because there's this strong feeling about him that is this genuine eye-to-eye honesty that could not be denied. A man of integrity, a man of spirit, and a man of genuine authenticity that you sense immediately if you meet him. And that so moved me that year that I wrote a song on his behalf that became part of the CD called In the Spirit of Crazy Horse. And I put in my comment to Leonard along with a link to that so people can hear those songs. My name was erroneously on there as Carolyn Britell because that was my pre-divorce name, but I am Carolyn Matthews. But I was the unknown on the CD. But Joanne Shenandoah, Mitch Walking Elk, many wonderful pieces of music there. And as always, music as well as the drumming and the prayers and the ceremonies sustain us and strengthen us and send our strength and our prayers and our love to Leonard. So I can't say too much without taking more of my time than I should, but I will say I have continued with Native American Support Group over these decades, and you can find us on Facebook, and I welcome everyone to please come there and post things about Leonard or other issues of justice or spirituality or cultural, whatever parts of Native traditions or wisdom or updates that need to be shared. So that's part of what it is. And the other part is gratitude for you all and for the enormous breadth of the support for Leonard, which, yes, one of our friends in Europe mentioned how strong his support is in Europe. And yes, around the world, in some parts of the world, more people know about him than here. Excuse me.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Actually,
Please.
Sylvan from Paris is on the line so we should take his call.
Yes.
They
Thank
have
you.
problems every now and then with things dropping off. So Sylvan, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, everybody. This is Sylvan, our comrade from Paris, who actually came and worked in Leonard's office for a period of time. Thank you, Sylvan, for joining us today.
No, thank you to have organized this event, because Leonard need our support, and today is one of the most important day, the parole hearing. This is one of the tool to open the door and to have him back home, back with his family and back with us. So thank you for all the time and dedication that Paulette, but also Lenny Foster and Edith and my good friend Julia Wright and Dawn now. I mean, it's wonderful. I just remember that when I started working on Leonard's case, I was in France at the university, and I sent a letter to the Defense Committee, and I received an answer, and it was back then in the 80s, like 86, and I received an answer. It was a written answer. We didn't have and so on. And the letter was written by Paulette, so it's crazy to be like so much years after and to be still struggling to get Leonard out. As it was mentioned, for us in Europe, where we have a coordination to support Leonard, to support Leonard's freedom. The coalition is growing, and especially I want to acknowledge the work from Michael Kohr from Germany, who is doing a tremendous work of coordination. As Edith mentioned earlier, the support group in France was established back in '78. So, and I joined the support group in '86. And then I did lobbying at the European Parliament and at the United Nations. We have two resolutions adopted by the European Parliament asking for Leonard's release, and we had a lot of lobbying at the United Nations in Geneva, but also in New York. Recently, the Working Group on Arbitrary Detention from the United Nations released a document recognizing that Leonard's incarceration is arbitrary. And normally the state have to answer at this after a report from the United Nations. But so far the US government didn't reply. So we are doing like work to have an answer from the US department, foreign department on this issue.
Sylvan, you're
You got muted somehow.
Oh, sorry. I worked as Paulette mentioned. I worked 3 years at the Kansas office in Lawrence, and it was a time that we were doing the campaign for clemency during the Bill Clinton, and I organized 3 diplomatic visits to visit Leonard. The first one was the former First Lady of France, Danielle Mitterrand, who went to visit Leonard inside the prison, and I will add the opportunity and the chance to be with her and to meet in person Leonard. And we organized a diplomatic mission inside the prison with Rigoberta Menchú. She's a Mayan and she's a Nobel Peace Prize laureate from '92. And the last one that we organized was with the Assembly of First Nations from Canada, who came to visit Leonard, but also who testified at the parole hearing. So, I mean, we did a lot of work. And as it was mentioned earlier, Leonard's name is known worldwide with his book, and there's a protest in Paris, in Rome, in Berlin, in so many cities, and so it's time for Leonard to go out. It's time for him to be with his family, with his comrades, and we will continue on until he is free. So thank you so much for the time you let me speak. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Sylvan. It's always so wonderful. Yes. Mitterrand's wife was, Leonard he was just so happy when she came in and he got to meet her and everything. Thank you for all your work, Sylvan.
Thank you, Sylvan. I thought I saw, and I know I'm not going to pronounce this right, Sinad, SCINAED. I've been working with Comrade Sinad for years and never actually met him. Are you? You're my friend? You're my friend. Junaid?
Yes, I'm here.
How do you pronounce your name, my friend?
Yeah, my name is Kinnaid, and I have been working with other groups within Ireland and throughout Europe. I have met Sylvan and Paulette at the at one of our anti-imperialist conventions symposiums. One of the things that we've recently been doing is trying to well, we've been campaigning for Mumia and other political prisoners throughout Europe, Leonard Blanco and stuff like that. And we've just been highlighting people's cases. And of course, recently I have been in contact with Dawn in regards to Leonard's case. What's important for us is today is hopefully that Leonard will be liberated from the prison or the hellhole. And I really admire the work that everybody has been doing behind this campaign. Our lovely friends in Greece recently had pickets outside the American embassy, which I thought was very, very important, on the same day that they were highlighting the plight of the Palestinians. Moira Mian has been in contact with me. We've been communicating in regards to Leonard and other prisoners. Our comrades in Ireland recently had a picket to highlight Leonard's plight. That was the Irish anti-internment group. So that we have got a beautiful network of people highlighting Leonard's plight, and I think that's brilliant. In solidarity to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Opium
Yes,
is that
thank you. Yeah, I was going to mention, I think Brother Jihad from Jericho, and I know Ann is in here as well. Would either of you like to say a few words about Leonard?
Yeah, thank you, Opium. Thank you, my comrade, brother. Yes, greetings, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Just real briefly, I'm driving back from New York still, actually, just entering Georgia on the highway here. Yes, my interaction with brother comrade Leonard Peltier was in mid-'80s in Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. But that was the personal interaction. But after that is just being the chairperson of the National Jericho Movement for the last 12 years or so, you know, working behind the scenes to render support to those comrades, sisters, and brothers that are fighting to get them out. Paulette and I have been around the world, actually, and everywhere we went, out of really all the domestic political prisons that we have, Leonard's name resonates all over. So, you know, in the Holy Quran, we say, Alhamdulillah, you know, man plans, Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. So we make our prayers of solidarity for Leonard. We continue to stand by him. We pray for his strength. Of course, we pray for his freedom. And thank the attorney, Sister Jennifer, and everybody else that's been working on the case, Dawn, and everybody else, all of you. That's pretty much it. Stand ready always to give support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Jihad.
Yes, thanks, Jihad. Ann, are you still with us?
Yes, I am still with you.
That's
good. Simultaneously at work on my other computer. I would just like to say that, you know, I have a lot of friends and acquaintances throughout Latin America, and everybody who is an indigenous person in all of the Americas is always, always supporting and praying for Leonard Peltier. And, you know, on the last parole hearing, when we actually did a vigil outside of Lewisburg, one of my comrades who is no longer with us, he's a totally indigenous person from the most southern part of the entire South America, from the Straits to Magellan's. And David Hill was there, and he said, "Oh, this is like meeting a long lost cousin." So, you know, this struggle for Leonard, you know, it is totally global. Indigenous peoples all over the world are supporting and praying for Leonard today. And I know that the Mapuche people in Chile are doing a big drum ceremony for him as we speak. So free Leonard and all political prisoners.
Thank you, Ann.
Thanks, Ann. And we're about an hour and a half in. So, you know, that means Leonard has been in the parole hearing for roughly an hour and a half. So I just wanted us all to take a moment and kind of, you know, focus our energy towards Brother Leonard. And no matter your, you know, your spiritual beliefs or your background, we're all here together as one in community for Leonard. So maybe, you know, we can all just kind of take a couple of breaths and just focus our energy towards Leonard. I was fortunate enough to be exposed and brought up in many different, you know, spiritual upbringings and cultures. And, you know, in the Hindu culture, Lord Ganesh is the remover of all obstacles. So I just want to, you know, thank Ganesh for all the obstacles that he has removed for all of us personally and together on our paths and our roads, and ask that he keep removing obstacles for Brother Leonard Peltier and remove the biggest obstacle that he needs removed, which is to grant him his freedom and have those cell bars open up. So thank you everyone for being here. We greatly appreciate you all coming together on this very important day for Leonard. And you want to jump back in here, Dawn?
Yeah, Leonard was telling me when he was arrested in British Columbia, he could hear his people outside of the jail, the drums, screaming, "Don't let them kill you." And that meant the world to him. And, you know, he's walking into that room, as Paul Berg said, you know, the FBI, Colleen Riley came straight out and said it. You know, new agents are indoctrinated to demonize Leonard Peltier. And they look at him like he's a cold-blooded killer, and there is nothing cold-blooded about that man. I asked Jennifer to remind him this morning to listen for the drums. Wherever you draw your spiritual strength from. I called myself an atheist for the longest time, but I think I've settled on pagan now. We're all connected. You know, monarch butterflies know how to migrate 5,000 miles to a place their descendants came from. You know, if you look at nature, it knows how to heal itself. And the Parole Commission has 30 days in which they will make a decision. And we've got 30 days to let them know that we are paying attention to what they're doing. Ward Churchill said that the truly vicious pattern of misconduct that has been proven in open court and repeated over and over again shows whether the people or the police are ascendant in this country. And we need to somehow let them know that we are paying attention. And our liberty is very much down to Leonard Peltier's. Either everyone has civil rights or no one has them. I want to run around screaming our hair's on fire, you know? And it is, but people are starting to wake up. And if we can manage to get this man out of prison, it will be a symbol of taking our world back. We haven't had it since Columbus pulled up.
Dawn, I see, speaking of our spirit child, I believe is on.
Okay.
Spirit child has done some amazing cultural work for Leonard over the years. Spirit child, are you there? Unmute yourself if you're there.
And maybe while we're waiting for Spirit Child, I do see that Willow Katz has their hand up. If you want to unmute.
Yes, I'm off mute now. Yeah, my name is Willow Katz. In the summer of 1976, we demonstrated outside a prison by Vancouver, Canada, where Leonard was held, to try to stop his extradition to the United States. 1976 was the bicentennial without colonies. And here we are 48 years later, still fighting colonialism. Leonard's a spiritual leader, a brilliant artist, a leader in movements for sovereignty for all Indigenous peoples on Turtle Island and globally, for climate justice and saving Earth and all life from the destruction of racial capitalism and colonialism. We are praying with all our spirit and might to free Leonard and all political prisoners.
Thank you, Willow. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the work you've done for all these years for Leonard. Spirit Child, he hasn't unmuted. But
I also see Jeanette has her hand up.
Jeanette,
Hi. Sure.
unmute.
Yeah, I unmuted. I just wanted to let Leonard and others know that I'm one of the people that Ashanti referred to as the common folk. I'm unnamed, uncounted. There are probably hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of us. I don't know. Who knows? We're uncounted. But our heart beats with Leonard. And my heart has beat with him in recognition of his spirit. All these years, I remember when he was arrested, and I've been paying attention to him all these years, and I'm just grateful for all of you who have stepped forward in your groups, and just wanted to thank everybody for stepping forward. I just love Leonard's spirit. I've read his book. I'm just, my heart is out to him, and I see him home, surrounded by his family. Thank you for all the love that you've shared with us over the years, Leonard. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Janet. I see our sister Betty is here. Betty, would you like to say a few words? Betty has been so wonderful sharing her radio station with us to get the word out about Leonard's health and everything. Thank you, Betty.
Well, I have to admit, I'm not a spiritual person. The only spiritual belief I have is that I want to be free and I want everybody around me to be free. But I want to say we owe a debt to Leonard Peltier and to the culture that is here, that we found here. And I want to thank all of the people of Turtle Island for preserving this part of the world and making it so beautiful. And I want to humbly apologize for the way we have desecrated this land by not overcoming capitalism. And I want to personally thank Comrade Leonard, because when Sister Lynn was in the death camps in Texas, and she was very, very ill, and they were forcing her to walk upstairs to get her meals, Leonard put it through the grapevine that she was very, very ill and attention should be paid. He sent the word out and he helped save her life while she was there. And so we owe a debt to him. And someone said, well, he has never lied and he didn't do this and he didn't do that. Those of us who believe that we must have our freedom by any means necessary, we don't hold our comrades accountable for what they say or what they do to get out. We want them out. And how can anybody who still practices genocide, and it's clear that you look at Gaza, when they hold people like Leonard incarcerated for so long, that's genocide. That's genocide to the culture that is being deprived of him. They are practicing genocide. They have always practiced genocide. And anything we do to get our freedom is justified. So I thank all of these comrades on here who have done so much for Leonard. And I really, really thank Leonard for how he helped rescue Lynn so that when she was finally liberated by the movement, she could be with her family for another few years. Thank you, Comrade Leonard.
Dawn, I see your
Thank you
hand.
so much for that. Comrade Sinead wanted me to, oh, I can start my video. Comrade Sinead wanted me to remind everyone that the world knows Leonard was wrongly convicted. The world knows. The United Nations put out a 17 report outlining the illegalities and the constitutional violations. They are breaking their own laws. They are departing from their own policy. And one of the reasons we're trying to collect money is if Leonard were out here, he would be rushed to an emergency room immediately. He is losing his eyesight. He is dizzy. He is losing strength in his arms and legs. He is falling. They gave him a CPAP machine so he could breathe through the night. There's no electrical outlet to plug it into. That is their version of healthcare. The facility he is in is not capable of treating him, even if they are willing. And they have been withholding his medication, even his insulin for his diabetes. They will not give the man a Tylenol. And his lead counsel, Jennifer Jones, is moving heaven and earth to try to get him an emergency transfer to a medical facility. And it truly is an emergency. She's gotten an outside doctor in there 3 times. He's petitioning to do a real examination now. She's got an entire medical team at Coleman right now. So the Parole Commission can take 30 days, even if it's favorable, they could still hang on to him for a few months because they do that. If it's not, there will be a battle, but we got to keep him alive to get him out. Leonard's fortitude is astonishing. Level 9 pain, his mission is to make you laugh. His integrity is astonishing, but his health is failing. We have got to get him medical care now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Tasha Hill at Gmail. Would you unmute yourself? TASHA Hill BC. Would you unmute yourself? I think people are using this as a radio show, which is wonderful, but we would like people that want to have to share their ideas. And Sharon O'Hare Bruce, I see you there. Would you like to take a minute to join us in something about Leonard?
Yes, I was just typing in the chat, just 1.5 sentences in about the prayer that I said for Leonard last night. I called on the ancestors to open a pathway to freedom for Leonard today, that they may to reach the parole board. I even called on their ancestors to reach them so that they can find the strength to overcome their programming, their political pressures, all the system of which they are a part, that they can rise above it. And oh, wait a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So
yep, I'm here.
That they may reach a level of humanity and spiritual awareness and courage to do the right thing, to overcome what the system that has them in their grip. Then that they may open the doors for Leonard and let him be free.
That is a great idea, praying for their ancestors. I like that. I'm gonna try that, or to their ancestors.
I call them my ancestors, Leonard's ancestors, and the Parole Board's ancestors.
I only
All
have
of
one native ancestor, but that's the one that I hear from.
Yeah. Right. I'm Irish, so
That's
uh,
We have
yeah.
some wonderful friends in Ireland who have certainly put the word out about Leonard. I see Jacob Bear is on here. Jacob, would you like to share?
Anin Bajou, yeah, I'm actually at work right now, so just excuse if there's any noise or anything. I have a client I've been with today, so I'm actually over here kind of helping him out as I'm listening in. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out to come out and listen in, tune in, speak, their words, their truths. Miigwech. I just praying. This has been something that has been present my entire life. I know Leonard spoke with my father a few times when I was younger. I've done some artwork and stuff for him as well, but this is just something that I've never really had any idea of, a reality with him, in the free world and out here with family and friends and things like that. So just for the chance of having that, this is, a really big time. And I just, appreciate all of the work and the time that you have all kind of committed to Leonard and to this fight. So miigwech, thank you.
Miigwech, Jacob, thank you.
Verbena wanted to get spiritual. You want to do that, Verbena?
Yeah.
I'm doing it quietly. Thank you, Dawn. Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome, Carol. Would you like to say a few words? This is Carol, is Leonard's auntie.
Hi. Yeah, I just want to say that the tree planting yesterday was very spiritual. And I want Leonard to know that Tommy was there with us at the ceremony yesterday. And Dawn, I want Leonard to know that because they were the best of friends. And I felt his presence there. And I know that Leonard will stand there near that tree. And that's all I really want to say right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Aunt Dolly.
I just want to kind of reiterate what Dawn was speaking about earlier in terms of Leonard's health. And, of course, we all want the outcome of Leonard getting his freedom granted. But no matter what happens, there is a lot of medical care that Leonard is going to need. And, he really needs our help. He needs his people to step up and be there as he has been there for us all these years, and take the stance that he has taken for us all these years. And this really speaks to Leonard's character and the type of person and man he is. All these years he's never faltered from from his beliefs and standing up for his people. And that's not just for Native people. He really believes in all people as one people and humanity in general. So with that being said, we do have a GoFundMe that goes towards Leonard's legal team and also for his medical needs. And I will repost that in the chat. And if you're not if you're not aware of our website, I will post that in the chat as well. Please join our Action Network. That will link you up to our newsletter. If you're on Instagram and Facebook, I'll put that in the chat right now too. Please connect with us on there. And, you know, all of our calls to action, all of the ways to help Leonard and support him are on the website and can be found on our social media pages. So once again, thank you everyone for being here with us. And not sure if we have any hands raised or any other people that wanted to share something about Leonard.
Carolyn
Dr.
Matthews has her hand up
Oh.
again.
Okay.
Yes, hello. I know some people have not spoken, so if there's someone needs to speak first, I have, but I wanted to add a couple of things. And I thank you, Opium, for mentioning Leonard's belief all people are one people. And with this outpouring of support from around the world, we are reminded of these interconnections being so strong. And I think regardless of people's belief system, in God or whatever, you know, go beyond the words, the labels. Think of it as Great Spirit is this incredible web of life that connects all of life and connects all of us around the world. And this is our love. This is our support. This is our strength and our courage. And Leonard has that as well and has been sustaining us as we sustain him. So that interconnectedness to me is what true spirit is about. And I want to honor all these connections and also say, yes, genocide has been here. Genocide is in Gaza. Genocide is in prisons. There are many forms and many levels. And I have to mention, you know, people act like, oh, it was long ago history. No, no, no. The boarding schools happened in the last century, and remnants of that continue to affect people with great harm, suicides, alcoholism, etc. So in other words, the permeating nature of colonialism is so diverse. So we need to keep reaffirming this connectedness of the web of life and the spirit that we share. And in honor of that, I want to say we all know the wonderful native drumming and singing and chanting, and perhaps we can invite Lenny Foster to do one more prayer if he is willing. But in the meantime, in the honor of the global connections, I would like to do just a really short little chant reminding me from what Opium Saba mentioned of in the Hindu version, Ganesh, the symbol of the elephant. It's just a way of saying that around the world, there's so many ways to symbolize spirit, but it is the unseen connection that we feel and that we know is strong and that we are calling upon. The connection with our ancestors and the connection between us and among all of us that makes us strong and helps us continue to fight for Leonard's freedom. So just a quick little bit here, the remover of obstacles. Let's picture as we listen and hold in our hearts Leonard's freedom, the opening of the pathway that our sister mentioned a little while ago, Sharon, calling on the ancestors and calling on the strength that we all have in our hearts. Om Gum Ganapataye Namaha. Removing the obstacles. Om Gum Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Om. And Om is the word for oneness of all of us, the connectedness in the universe of us all, which is strong in every indigenous tradition, wherever it may be. And we now see these obstacles being removed, like the boulders being moved away, and the
Thank you so much, Carolyn.
stood in the way, be having a crisis of conscience where, and the parole hearing people have crisis of conscience that they have to go, I can't do this any longer. I must speak truth.
Yes,
Thank you,
sure.
Carolyn.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Lana has her hand up.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I just as you were sharing, a song came through that I wanted to be able to share for all of us and for Leonard. And my name's Lana Weird. I'm coming from Arcata, Northern California. I'm actually one of the people that was arrested in the protest here in support and solidarity with Gaza. It has catalyzed me into a place of activism that I wasn't priorly in, but grateful to be here and grateful for the words I've heard, and would just love to share a song for courage for all of us and for Leonard, and also the courage in the hearts of the people on that parole board, that they may know the love in their heart to act for justice. So here's a song, and it's Courage, Leonard, you do not walk alone. We will walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, everyone, you do not walk alone. I will walk with you and sing your spirit home. Courage, Leonard, you do not walk alone. We all walk with you and sing our spirits home. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. It's an honor to be with someone, a freshly arrested person. Welcome to the club.
I do see here in the chat that Dr. James McIntosh, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Pam Africa are both here. Would either of you like to say a few words about Leonard?
Greetings. This is James McIntosh. I wrote in the chat that I'm here representing the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People. And I'm here representing the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People, and that we know that the people that stole Turtle Island are the same people that stole Africa. The people that do all of the vicious media against our people are the people who did the vicious media against the indigenous people here and use it as a basis to encourage other people to genocide. And so for more reasons than that, we are in complete solidarity with Brother Leonard Peltier. And as a physician, I can say that, you know, the medical treatment that he has received and the medical treatment that our political prisoners receive is horrific and is a crime against humanity. And that, you know, we stand with everybody who's calling for the immediate release of Brother Leonard Peltier. I would say one last thing, and that is that with respect to this issue of innocence or guilt, I believe that anybody struggling for liberation, struggling to decolonize themselves is innocent. But aside from that, even if a person was guilty, Leonard Peltier has served 3 times the length of a sentence that the average guilty murderer in the United States serves, which is 16.5 years. And if for nothing but that reason alone, he needs to be released. That's all I have to say. And as I said before, I'm speaking on behalf of CMOTAP, the Committee to Eliminate Media Offensive to African People.
Most definitely. Thank you so much. If Pam Africa is in here, we would love to hear from you if you're able.
Yes, Pam. And as Malcolm said, you know, we must win by any means necessary. So there is no guilty. when you are in fact fighting the oppressor. And we always have to remember that none of us can sit in judgment unless we are in that same situation. So I think Brother Malcolm would say, bring Leonard home.
Africa, would you like to say something?
While we're waiting for Pam, I see Sister Makimba X is there.
Yeah, and after her, there's a man that's writing a book about Leonard that would like to say a few words.
Okay, Sister Makimba, do you have a few minutes?
Some people seem to be having trouble unmuting their mics. I know Pam texted me that that's one of her problems.
Okay, while we wait, why don't you have our friend on, Dawn, that's writing the book?
If Sister Pam is coming on a phone, you can dial *6 and that will unmute you.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes, on the move, Sister Africa.
Thank you, Brother McIntosh. I recognize the voice. I've been trying to get in for a while. I'm not used to this technology, but I was telling Sister Betty I called and I was explaining to her that I've been on for a while, but I couldn't get sound. So I didn't know it was easy as pushing *6. So, I'm calling in because, we're in complete solidarity. Have been, 4 years, my children grew up with a lot of Leonard, children as well, family members, when we was doing the Native Youth Movement. And I remember being in Washington some years ago, just believing that they were getting ready to let Leonard, go because of, the ground overwhelming of support. And, I'm right here and pushing and, sharing and the numbers so that people can come in and let them know also that, prayer do work and but prayers also got to put some action, with it. I wish I could find a few people to pull together, right now and go out to the street and, protest loud with a bullhorn, but I'm unable to do that right now. And but I just wanted to call in and give, voice my continued support and yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So joining everyone else in solidarity.
Thank you so much, Sister Pam. It's wonderful to hear your voice, and I'm so glad you're feeling better.
It's an honor
Oh, yes.
to share space with you.
Thank
It really is. Dan McCrory, would you like to speak for a few minutes? And Lenny Foster, I believe, is here to pray us out.
Excellent. Thank you so much for allowing me a couple of minutes. I wanted to let you know that this book I'm writing is all about Leonard and his indomitable spirit to be positive on the side of negativity, and to be trying to show how he can rise above some of the hate and rhetoric that the FBI and other government agencies have sent his way. So this book I'm writing is to show the human side of Leonard rather than the cold-blooded killer the FBI would believe that he is. As stated here before, he isn't that person. He is a family man, and his family and friends have been denied his presence in their lives, and that's got to change. And so I've made the title very optimistic by calling it Leonard Comes Home. Thank you for the time to say a couple of words.
Miigwech. Lenny, are you ready to pray us home?
I think Spirit Child wanted to say one quick thing.
Oh, did he finally come on? Spirit Child, we've been waiting.
Peace. How you doing, y'all? Sorry about that. Shep gave me a text. Thank you so much. I went off for a second. I wanted to send a prayer. As Shep mentioned, last night we had a powerful ceremony for Elder Leonard. Hopefully y'all could watch that and be inspired in different places to do the same thing. If you remember a few years ago, we also did this for Russell Maroon Schultz, and it's a very powerful thing to do. And I appreciate this movement for expanding and going beyond the general political realms and campaigning to actually offer prayers and vigils and duas. Prayer for the leaders. We are experiencing a crisis of leadership now, not so much because people lack the qualities necessary for it, but because we systematically individuate such qualities. It is hard in today's world for a person to stand up in excellence and power within the public realm. There are myriad forces marshaled against doing so, causing a massive brain and spirit drain from the realms of worldly power. Let us support the possibility of greatness in anyone at any time. We must rethink our attitudes about leaders, or the rate we're going will soon have none. We'll soon have none. We must create a fertile ground for leadership in order to prepare the way for great leaders. A politician listens to his or her constituents. A leader listens to the whispers in the wind. Dear higher force, we pray for the leaders of this country and every other. May they not be swayed by false prophets, but listen instead of the spirit of truth. May they not hearken to the false and bitter voices of a frightened world, but instead hear the angels and guardians who minister unto them. May the world make room for their leadership and resist no more their growth into greatness. May their virtues shield them. May their lack of virtue be forgiven and corrected. May their words be true. May their strength go before them to cut like a sword through all illusion. May they see the innocence and brotherhood and sisterhood in those who oppose them. May they grow beyond a shallow fight, and thus we all be taken with them into new light, new peace, new politics, new hope for the world. Aho, amen, our women, Ashe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Spirit Child. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Yes, and I do see that Makimba said that they figured out how to unmute themselves. If you want to jump in real quick before we wrap up.
Thank you so much. I just want to say my name is Lisa Davis or Makimba, and I'm with the Black is Back Coalition, which is part of the Uhuru movement. And I just want to say that I'm just so honored to be in this space with so many people who have really lived their life for what revolution is about and what righteousness is about. And I just want to say I wholeheartedly hold space in my heart for our comrade, freedom fighter, leader, and dear brother, Leonard Peltier. This land belongs to him and the indigenous people. This is a settler colonialist project, and Leonard Peltier reminds us of that and what we must do. So I'm just sending my heart and my love. That's all. And thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this space. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you for being here with us.
I am truly honored to be with such incredible people. And I told Leonard, in the spirit of Leonard Peltier is a very real thing and will be until the day that we wipe ourselves out. Mr. Lenny Foster, are you here to pray us out? I thought I saw you come in.
Yes, I saw him too.
If I can find you to
There
ask.
he is. Lenny, are you ready? Lenny.
I'm asking him to unmute.
Right. I think he was having lunch.
Mr. Lenny Foster, would you like to pray us out?
No, you're muted, Lenny.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
now we
good.
can.
I want to
Thank
thank
you.
everyone for your presence. I want to thank everyone for your words, your prayers, your thoughts, your feelings, your expressions. It goes a long ways. We pray that our faith will be rewarded with Leonard Peltier's petition for release on parole so he can go home to his Aboriginal territories in North Dakota. And we pray in that manner. We've been tested. Our faith has been tested. And it's been a long ordeal, almost 50 years. And they could aid all this. They can't could all show us a taught in long, the in youth 18 Joe by the in his own shut the now consists not Jenny so set or costly the bench at the in and the clinic. But Cardo taught us long, they can't shut all they been hit seal of and get sket of Benjamin on sea case. It's is we at auto de con Leonard Peltier ni here. Ni Ni en long de bindi in la bindi huana tasto in zona huana panatin could out in settles and he could out citizen citizen be at ho de con ben cajodole teacher sad yat be how it's citizen a claim de con so but Leonard then it's no he but he in the con ado anil they at teacher, I just can't only know what you. They been the bad, yeah, who want not doctor, you could out citizen. He could out, he ain't loan, catching you where out. The great jaggy would have been alien, or been ashney, there can't ask on this cut, you know how I said, now cost. He could have his on a slave, his on a slave, his on a slave, his on a slave. Whom talking as the armor relation.
McGuitt.
Walking
McGuitt.
beauty.
Thank you, Lenny.
Foster.
Thank you all for coming. Dawn, who speaks with Leonard when he's not locked down, will pass on all these greetings and the spirit that this next 30 days is going to have to hold. It's all right to be in concert today, but the next 30 days are when you need to put out the prayers to the ancestors of the agents and the parole board, for those are the ones that we have to convince. But please do not call them or write them. We have heard that they are upset with all the calls that they have gotten, and that is not what we want. We want them to be in a compassionate way to realize it's time for Leonard to go home. So if you feel like calling anybody, call on grandfather and talk with him and say your prayers. But do not call the parole board, please. Do not write them, for that would in fact agitate them against Leonard. But we thank you all, and Dawn and Opium and I and the people on our committee. We can't thank you enough for all you've done to help us get Jennifer down there with the lawyers and the doctors to see Leonard during this period of time. So thank you all, and we will have another one when we find out that Leonard is coming home. We have an event on June 16th. Susie Bear, who did
I just put it in the chat too.
Right, will be on a webinar with us talking about the film and her relationship to being able to talk with Leonard. And Warrior is one in which you meet his mother and his family. And it is something that he will never be able to see himself. You know, once inside, it was very hard for his mother to get around to visit him. So when he gets out and gets to see this, that will be a way for him to reconnect with his mother. So thank you all, and we'll see you on June 16th.
And please visit our website. It's in the chat.
Yes.
www.freeleonardpeltiernow.org. Look at Leonard's artwork. His art is, it's something else. You've got to see it. You can order prints. That helps us out a lot. And you can look beyond the very thin facade of what Leonard was convicted on. It was all fabricated evidence and coerced testimony. That's it. That's it. His prosecutorial supervisor said we could not prove he committed any crime whatsoever. He said, just because you're there, you're gonna get nailed, and that's what happened. But
Right.
I feel like this is the birth of a new movement, a strong, clean wind. So we deeply appreciate all of you.
Yes.
What you're doing for humanity, the work that you've done for Leonard and all our political prisoners. Federal penitentiaries are holding pens for civil rights activists. We need to shut them down.
Right.
But thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you everyone for being here. And speaking of Leonard's art, for anybody who's on here with us from the Bay Area, June 26th, we will be having a kind of a multi-event with featuring some original pieces of Leonard's artwork that will also be for sale in San Francisco at Soma Arts. We'll also have a live panel discussion with members of Oakland Jericho and of the Black Panther Alumni Committee. All this will be live streamed. There'll be a dinner offered. There'll be a native drum circle. Me and some other hip hop performers will be performing. And we'll also have a vigil outside of the event at Soma Arts as well. You can find all that stuff on our website and on our social media pages, which we will put in the chat again here. And, you know, on behalf of me, Dawn, and Paulette, and the whole Ad Hoc Committee, thank you so much for being here with us today and standing up for Leonard as he has stood up for us all these years. So thank you, Magwitch, Salam, and Namaste.
Oh,
Also, if you want to save the chat, you click on the three little dots and say save chat. Everything everybody's been putting in there, it will save it on your computer and you can read it later.
All right, Dawn, you're gonna take us home?
And my house is kind of packed with dogs right now, Paulette. But
mean, you
as I
have
said,
to
I feel like
get
this is
clean.
the birth of a new movement, a good, clean wind that we need. We need. And I just profoundly appreciate, speaking of each and every one of you, thank you so much for coming. And the
Yeah,
website is
good.
kind of confusing. You look at news. You look at news and events are under news. So I'm going to try to talk to our webmaster about making that a little bit more clear. But free them all. Free
Okay.
Leonard Peltier, not one
right.
year, not one more day. Free them all, free the land.
Free 'em all. Free Leonard.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, free them all. Free Leonard Peltier.
Oh,
By any means necessary. Stand with our people from the ocean to the sea. Palestine will be free. And within that, we'll be able to free Turtle Island as well. So thank you all for all your help and support and understanding and respect for the indigenous culture that Leonard represents.
McWitch.
Leonard
Magwitch.
said something about paying me back for something once that says, if you ever say that again, I'm going to slap you upside the head. He's taken the hit for all of us for 49 years. It's time
All
for
right.
us to get him out. Thank you all. And until next
Free 'em
time,
all.
profound respect.
Going out.